Hello everybody and welcome right around the country, wherever you might be. Hello to you. This is NBL Overtime. Hashtag NBL Overtime to get involved. Week 3 is almost in the book. Still got a game to go. I don't know why, but I can't wait for tomorrow night, the Kings and the Jack Jumpers. But we do know that we've got a man who in 2010 was the MVP. You look fit. You've just had a haircut by the looks of it. You're glistening. Homicide in the house. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Studs and duds. Naughty and nice, or nice, in Power Rankings moments away. Liam Santa Maria, hello to you.
Hello, man. Big round.
Huge.
Almost done, as you say. Big time of year. Lot going on.
Yeah.
Big show ahead.
Make or break. Remember a couple of years ago when the Wildcats were like last at this time of year and they won the title? Let's see what happens this year when it comes to the biggest game of this particular week. Let's start with Melbourne United because a week ago we sat here, do they need another import? Is CG going to be back soon? Is Jack White going to be back? And that was a great story. But they did what they have been doing the moment Dean Vickerman got there and just being, I like what you called them in your article, Grinch-like on defence. They were brilliant and that first 5 or 6 minutes against Sydney was incredible.
Yeah, look at these numbers. They were in out-and-out lockdown mode in this round. First team in NBL history to keep 2 opponents to 60 points or less in the same weekend. 47, of course, for Sydney was redonkulous. And then they kept New Zealand to a really, really low score as well. And yeah, they got Chris Goulding back. That frees everything up at the offensive end. Jack White back on the Sunday. But this is what this group under Dean Vickerman has the capability to do at the defensive end. Matthew Dellavedova, Shea Yili, guys like Jack White and Dave Barlow and the like. This team can go to a level defensively I don't think any other team in the league can get to. And that just takes the pressure off at the offensive end. And, of course, when you've got Chris Goulding back in the lineup, you start to look a little bit like what you expected to look like over the course of the season. So Melbourne United flexed their muscle over the weekend. That guy runs from rim to rim faster than I think anybody in NBL history. As a 5-man, incredible to see his skill set coming to the fore. And yeah, man, they made a big statement over the weekend, not just with the 2 wins, but the way they went about it.
I agree. I wasn't worried about Melbourne United at all. This is a team that I believe in, just like everybody, like they're proven. We know the reason why they looked the way they looked early in round 1 and round 2. There was no Chris Goulding. So obviously you inject him in. He plays such a focal point, a big role and focal point of what they do on the offensive end. Like you said, it frees everything up. And that's why it looked exactly the way it looked. And let's not forget, in round 1, they lost up in Sydney to this team. So, you know, when these 2 teams get together as 2 cities, let alone 2 teams, it's a big rivalry. They both always want to show up on home or away. And this was not even a contest. I walked into this game 3/4 away in the first quarter. Probably about a minute left. I could not believe what the score was. I couldn't believe it. And I left in the 3rd quarter. I said, this is not even a game. This is like under 8s. It's not even a contest. I'm out of here. I went to dinner.
I was going to get a hot dog. I was on my way to get a hot dog halfway through the 3rd. I bump into him on the way out.
Yes.
Wow.
I'm like, yo, this is not even a game. This is under 8.
But you could have walked out 6 minutes into the first quarter. Man. 26-0. Unbelievable, historic kind of stuff. And we'll talk about the Kings, but you have to give an enormous amount of credit to Melbourne United. They just came out and said, let's now put in place who we're going to be over the course of this season. And in 5 minutes, they just wiped that team off the floor.
A slight tweaking of a particular player's role or a different 5 or 4 that they're playing with changes. Agata started that second half against Southeast Melbourne Phoenix and was okay in the second half against Phoenix when they made that run and took the lead before just falling under. He looked a lot different on the weekend than he did in week 1 when he had to come in off the bench. They couldn't get any scoring, no Chris Goulding for a start. It just looked a hell of a lot different player. And defensively, I think he's probably a little bit better than I thought he was going to be coming in. That's maybe the Dean Vickerman system and the structure and what he preaches, as we've touched on. But Agata looked a hell of a lot better on the weekend. Again, Chris Goulding, Matthew Dellavedova next to you makes life easier, obviously, but he looked a lot better than he did in the first couple of weeks.
Yeah, this is the guy that they thought they were getting when they signed him. They signed him knowing that he'd be a two-way player and he could be fit into a Dean Vickerman system at the defensive end, but also help tick the scoreboard over. So 20 points a night at 50% from the field over the last couple of games. You put that alongside Chris Golding, you got Joe Lawala-Chul as a threat on the interior. Now you're starting to have a team that can do some things.
Sorry,
right.
but here's the thing, as a former import, I understand when you jump in on a team that has high expectations and they're loaded. They're loaded. So you're not the first priority. It takes time to adjust. And without Goulding on the court, it's even more pressure that he didn't even know that he needed to accept and thrive under. They struggled the first 2 games. He struggled the first 2 games. Listen, as an import, you know the game. You know the deal. You got to show up. You can't have 2 bad losses or just 2 losses and you underperform. Listen, it's low-key, I'm not saying that it was, but you kind of know, like, if I don't put on, my bags could be packed and I could get replaced. So it was great to see him step up in the manner that he did to show the fans, front office, team, and coach that I'm here to stay.
I like the analogy you used, and obviously your own experiences, because there's a new import in far north Queensland, funnily enough, who was brilliant again on the weekend. And the best thing about the Cairns Taipans, when they're up and about, we know how important the fans are. They absolutely crammed the joint in. I don't think anyone expected it to go this particular way, but we've got to talk Cairns because there was some nerves early, Liam. But they have been outstanding the last couple of weeks, and what they did, they just beat down a team who were coming in were meant to come in with a bit of confidence, and were putrid from the opening.
They sure did, man. Geez, the Taipans supporters would have loved watching this. This is what they did. Look at them just run. It's 4-on-1. The effort of defensive transition for Adelaide wasn't there, and then on the flip side, Cairns went out with all kinds of energy and intensity at both ends of the floor. And nice to see guys like Majuk Deng and Kawat Noi, these guys, and Bukwa also knocking down shots. But Tajir McCall is the man.
He is.
In far north Queensland. Hey, let's shout out Keanu Pinder as well. Big game against his former team, mate. He would have enjoyed that. In fact, he did. He said he's proud of his
tweet. Loved his tweet.
But in the absence of Scott Machado, Tajir McCall in particular, stepping up huge. 20 points, 10 assists, 4 steals, running the show offensively, getting everyone involved, and then having the kind of defensive impact that we know he can have. So I'm in love with Tajir McCall. Terrific signing, great job for the Taipans, and you got to protect home court if you're that team. We've seen it over the course of their history. They are tough to beat at home, and if they are competitive over the course of the season, it's because they've got a really good home record. So far, 2 wins from 2 in the Cairns Convention Centre.
Everything you said was right, Liam. But a team like Cairns, you have to win the games that you're supposed to win, right? Anybody equal to you or less, you have to win those games. It's an uphill battle with a lot of teams. You want to be competitive against the teams that you may not be on that level. You want to be competitive, and if it's close enough, have an opportunity to steal it, you steal it. But the games you're supposed to win, you have to win. Home court, they remind me of the Crocs. So I understand being an underdog, playing in a small market, going up against teams that people don't even think you're going to have a chance to beat. Defensively, that's how they have to be. They got to protect home court. And you're right, to TJ McCall. Over the weekend, over the round, last 2 games rather, 16 and a half, 9 assists and 3 steals. Defensively, he is a problem. So without Scott, he stepped up and stepped up big. Zimmerman stepped up big. Majuk Deng shot the ball well, 4 for 6 from 3. These guys got to play like that every night to give themselves the best chance to win games, let alone just be in games. But the effort areas, defensively, it has to be there every night. That was the biggest thing last year. There was no defense whatsoever. So it's great to see them come up with 2 good wins, and Coach got them right.
Mate, they put the beat down on your playoff.
You know what? Like,
They're out.
We're going to talk about that now or later.
Maybe later.
Maybe later.
Save that. I'm sorry.
Oh, my God.
I jumped the gun.
A couple of things. You mentioned McCall. He was outstanding in his leadership. I think everyone was concerned when Scott Machado went down. You, on the first show of the year, said Machado has to play exceptionally well to have this team competitive. And I think that is an idea that a lot of people around the league have. McCall stepped straight into it. But you mentioned Majukden. You mentioned Kwatnoy. This is what we've been waiting for. What we seen on Saturday night is what we all expected them to do last year. Now, we know they had their injury concerns. There was a plethora of issues when it comes to not being able to get their roster or their main guys going. So we gave them a year's grace. But what we seen on Saturday night is what 15, 16 months ago we thought they were going to do to take Cairns at a whole nother level. And that's the type of players. Kwatnoy, Majukden, this is your time, because what you set the standard on Saturday night is the standard we all expect you to play at, and if you do that, it's a much different Cairns team than the one we may have seen, although they weren't horrible in week one against the Wildcats. But it was cool to watch from the snag pit to the snake pit. They're back home. Fans, make sure you get out and get involved. The only team to beat them so far is Perth. They went 2-0 on the weekend. I'm going to start with you, Homicide. I am every other week. Are you impressed yet?
No, I'm not. I'm not impressed yet. I'm impressed with the individual performances, okay? That man right there, Jesse Wagstaff, turned the clock. How could you not be impressed with Jesse Wagstaff?
I am.
Well, you know, that was beautiful to see him turn back. Bryce Cotton took a lot of shots to get to that 30 points. Vic Law had 9 and 9. They went up against a tough, confident Brisbane team. They got the win after bouncing back. They bounced back and got the win after getting that loss versus Brisbane. So they handled what they needed to handle. It would be virtually impossible to lose at this point in the game twice in RAC Arena versus Perth. So they handle their business.
Well,
they're still missing some guys as well.
They did. They are. They got the two leading scorers in the league, Cotton and Vic Law. Dynamic duo. Incredibly good import combination. Luke Travers finding his feet. They're trying to work out how best to use him in the starting unit, on the wing, off the bench, as a ball handler and a playmaker. They're working all that out. Michael Frazier into the mix now. Stepping in, knocking down shots, starting to look a little more comfortable. And as you say, Jesse Wagstaff, just driving guys, getting the shoulder past dudes and getting to the rim. Hey, look, they've got the job done over this first 3 weeks.
That's
5 home games to begin the season. That's a nice little Christmas gift for them during the festive season. And you want to come out, if you're the Perth Wildcats, you want to come out of that with a really, really healthy record. Well, they won 4 of them and lost 1 in double OT. You can't ask much more than that. So, job done. Nice throwdown from Vic Law. Job done over these first 3 weeks. Now it gets real. Now you go on the road. Let's see what you can do in some other teams' home venue.
And that is my point exactly. They didn't do anything the masses did not think they were not able to do, right? Now, look, here's my top 4.
Here we go.
Again, both Melbourne teams, Illawarra and Sydney.
Adelaide gone.
Adelaide out of here, man. Adelaide out of here. Come on, man. You down 40-something. You ain't serious. You're not serious.
Oh, Sydney were down 40-something.
Sydney.
Are they serious?
But their point guard is out. So, you know, I'm rolling with Sydney. Sydney, look, again, Lamar Patterson, you know I'm on you. But you look better than how you looked. You know, over those last 2 games, I saw him in round 3.
Yeah.
He looked better.
He looks good.
Right? If they played 4 games, 3 of the games, he looked good. Right? He looked good. I just want more. But my point is, that Brisbane team, that ain't no walk in the park.
No, it's not.
That is no walk in the park, which means Perth, I'm not fully sold yet. Go to Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, beat them on the road. Go to Melbourne United loaded, beat them on the road. Go to Illawarra, beat them on the road. Go to Brisbane, beat them on the road. Then I would probably consider.
Probably
consider. That's just what I'm saying.
All right.
I saw them lose to Brisbane at home. I saw Vic Law, 9 and 9. That's my man. That's my man.
Whose league is this?
Bryce Cotton's league.
Who's the most dangerous player in the league?
Vic Law. But they didn't touch the road yet. I didn't see them on the road. They didn't touch the road yet. But I'll tell you something. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'll tell you something. I'll keep it real. That third import, he showed me something in that game against the Jack Jumpers. He showed me enough to know he get his feet on them and start rolling.
Mitch Norton, Luke
conversation.
Travers, Todd Blanchfield. Like, this team is stacked and they're making the playoffs.
Homicide, you can take this next one as well because Vic Law and Deng Deng, Liverpool kiss style.
Oh, my.
Have a look at this.
Just have a look at this.
Timber.
Show that again. I need
Show it again. Show it again.
I think we'll get a replay.
Here we go.
Please.
Good.
Oh, my goodness. Now, here's my thing, right? I call this game, and we literally laughed at the whole thing after seeing the replay consistently, right? And this is not soccer. You ain't European. That ain't even in you to flop in the manner that you flopped, right? I saw a lot of examples on Twitter. Those were all little guys on a big guy, right? It's not like two little point guards in the flop. You're damn near 7 foot. And you was in Vic Law's face talking tough. I've seen you since you've been in the league. You ain't backing down. So it led me to believe how, you about that life. Like, nobody should want no smoke with you the way you talk and how you were acting up until this point. So for me to see that, there's no place in the game. There shouldn't be no place in you, as much as you talk, to be flopping and diving in that manner. I didn't mind the dive and flop. I mean, personally, that's not my thing. But when we saw you like this on the floor, fam, I told you, I went shopping for you.
What?
Just so you know.
Here we go.
I went shopping for you. And here is your award.
no.
Let me get a close up on this. Here's this. I want to give you this award.
What does it say?
Worst flop ever. Dang, dang. This is a swimmer because you took a dive. So I wanted to make sure your name is on this. I'm going to get Brisbane Bullets front office address.
Okay.
I'm shipping this later.
No, don't send it to them.
Oh, I'm definitely sending it.
Just leave
Go
it
on,
here
give
on
it
the
to him.
desk.
No, we're going to give it to him.
Oh,
He
my.
needs this as a reminder to never do no nonsense ever like that again. You too big, and you got too much talent and game to result to something like that. And it didn't even go your way.
Now, Homicide,
Jeez.
I agree.
Yeah, we might keep that here.
I like the fact you've been
Don't send
shopping.
it. Don't
send
send
it?
it to
Now,
them.
All right, we just gonna keep
quickly
it.
before we get to your power rankings,
Yeah.
you wrote something very interesting and naughty or nice around this particular situation and Vic Law's eligibility for the rest of that game.
Should have been thrown out.
Should have been thrown.
How did he stay in the game?
You know how we stood in the game? Honestly, we all was just dumbfounded by the nonsense flop. It took the attention away from Law. Because I'm sure the referees was like,
You know what?
No. But
what is he doing on the floor like
You know what?
this?
I actually agree with Homicide. I
No.
think that's the one reason.
No.
It could only be the reason. 'cause
You think in the replay centers that the referee Scott Butler's just laughing at Ding Ding?
Then-
I believe so.
What did
I
they
believe
look at?
Scott Butler was in the back like, yo, do you
Listen.
see this?
Listen, 2018 Grand Final Series, Game 3,
Yep.
Nathan Sobey, Casey
Yep.
Prather. Sobey was ejected.
He was.
Right.
Midway through that game. In fact, when they went back after that game, they realised they should have tossed out Casey Prather and maybe even Ty Wesley as well. This is absolutely no different. Not a lot of contact, but if you deliberately lean in and make contact with your opponent's head, with your head, get out of here.
You
You're out
should
of the
be
game.
ejected.
I
You
agree.
should be
Now
ejected.
there's 3 minutes to go in the third quarter. It's a single-digit game.
Right.
He's an extraordinary player.
Right.
If I'm the Brisbane Bullets,
I'm
I'm
arguing
really
that.
unhappy with
Yeah.
how that played out.
Well, I'm asking the question at a minimum because while he got a game, it's just now because an early guilty plea, it sits over his head as a suspended sentence. But they've got they may have already asked the question, but you are right. If you do anything in a game that leads to the possibility of a one-game suspension, you shouldn't have been in the rest of that game.
Now, unless it's, like the refs didn't see it was they only saw it later in the. But
Mate, we've got a
everyone
replay
saw
centre.
it. I know.
We've got a replay
I know.
centre for this exact situation, and they've done a great job early in the year communicating certain things
Yep.
with the referees. And this was a mistake. It was just a bad
Yeah, it
mistake,
was.
and the Bullets will be asking, which I assume the replay centre and the power rankings are a little lower as we get into our man Liam Santamaria as we unveil the power rankings after nearly 3 completed weeks in NBL 22. That's Melbourne United. I like it.
This was fun. From Taylor Evans, Melbourne United. They took it personally. And I took that personally.
I'm assuming they're going to... Now, there we go. And if you bumped them up...
Last week. They're up.
Yeah, they're up. There you go.
Just a little bit.
All right.
Okay.
But they got to go above the Kings, right? They beat them by 40 points.
Yes.
True.
Same thing with Cairns and Adelaide. Sorry, Adelaide. It's a slippery slope. You're right down there in number 9 right now. And, I think that top 3, I'm very comfortable with that. Brisbane, Melbourne and Sydney, hey, play around with it. I mean, if you're Brisbane, you're like, hey, we beat Perth. We beat Illawarra. What are we doing underneath both of those teams? I get that, but there's been some topsy-turvy results of power rankings. And New Zealand, they might be 0-5, but it's...
That ain't no easy beat.
No, that's not an easy beat.
And sorry, one thing. Let me be clear. When I said you ain't European, I'm talking about in terms of how Europeans in soccer flop all the time. So let's be clear.
Adelaide.
Oh, my goodness. Where do we start? Now, I'm not going to say where do we start. I just think that there's two ways to look at this, right? New coach. Preseason's preseason. Everybody doesn't play their main players or their main plays. So they got off to a good, confident start, and I felt that they will make top 4, right?
Some of the numbers, Corey, from that game in Cairns, sub 50% from the free throw line, trailed by 40.
It's unacceptable to be down by 40 points.
Lost 2 games, they've allowed 59 and 54 in first half of the defense.
The free throw line's irrelevant because they could have shot 100% from the free throw line, still lost by 30.
Well, I'll put it like this. New coach, unacceptable that loss in the way they lost. So you don't get a pass from that. You need to have a deep and meaningful conversation with your team and everybody individually because that cannot happen again. Same way how Sydney got both new coaches, both got smacked. These things can happen, but you would rather it happen against a team. Look, I'd rather get smacked by Perth before I get smacked by Cairns. Players need to play. Players quit. I know what I saw. In fact, I turned that game off at the third quarter as well. It was ridiculous. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? So players got to look at themselves, and I hope that they turn around and actually, I know that they're going to turn around and come out better. They have to. It can't get any worse.
Who's their spark plug? They had no energy from the tip. And you look around the league, you can nominate a guy who's like, you know what, he's going to take, and he's going to be the guy who brings the energy to get you through an occasional flat spot. Who's Adelaide?
Needs to be Mitch McCarron. He needs to be that guy at that level. And it's not, often you think of a spark plug as a guy coming off the bench to change the tempo, but that needs to be Mitch McCarron setting that tone at the start of each and every game. And it was Tajir McCall that set the tone for that entire game. And here's my issue with that loss. As distinct to the Sydney historically bad loss in Melbourne. For Sydney, it wasn't a lack of effort. It wasn't a lack of playing hard or being cohesive. Melbourne just completely locked them down. They couldn't get anything happen offensively. Plus, they miss open looks, and then all of a sudden, the whole tide of things starts going against you, but they battled hard. That Adelaide team were jogging up and down the floor. We saw a little bit of the highlights there, but that was just one clip of about 10 you could put together about defensive transition. And it was a mix of a lack of communication, but also just a lack of getting back, playing hard. Almost every loose ball, the Taipans got. Getting harder at the ball, harder running the lanes. And as a coach and as a team and as an organisation and as a teammate and as an individual, you just can't accept that.
Now, there's some good and bad news. The bad news is they have to wait a little while before they get the chance to show some revenge, like Sydney were able to do. They picked themselves up. They were just outplayed, not necessarily out-hustled on Thursday night, just dramatically outplayed. It was horrible from the start. People had to miss work on Friday because their legs were still sore because they had to stand up for the first 6 minutes. But they came back on Saturday night and got the job done. Adelaide have an opportunity. It's the best thing about sport. 99% of the time, after you get embarrassed, you have an opportunity to front back up and whatever it is and do what Sydney did in this game against a really good South East Melbourne Phoenix team.
You know what? It was very, very impressive, the win, because, again, they're playing against a contending team for the title. So for you to lose and get smacked the way you did by Melbourne United and come home to get the win was very... You had no choice, because there would have been some real issues had you lost that game. So, just the ability to bounce back. And this guy, man, the way he's come into this season and balled out, Angus Glover, I really appreciate how he's playing the game. He has that. He's taking it personal. And you know, we always knew he had game. We always appreciated how he went about it. But he was just always injured. So for him to come back and be playing at the level that he's playing in, I'm absolutely loving what he's doing. And he's leading from the front and setting an example. You know, a week ago when the step over occurred, at first I was like, yo, you know what? Like, you need to just play the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's been turbulent in your career. Just play the game. And I understand he's coming in like, look, I'm going to be that guy. I'm not sitting back no more. I'm healthy. Let me show you what I always had in me and more. And the way he's playing, I'm loving how he's playing the game.
Been brilliant. Unreal to watch. And it's fun.
It's fun.
I hate Comeback Player of the Year awards because it traditionally means there's been a really bad injury prior to it. So I hate but he's leading it, although we've seen two, Vasiljevic and Jack White, get back on the weekend.
Shout out to the young homeboys.
Majuk.
Yeah,
DJ.
Majuk as well.
Vasiljevic and Jack White. Welcome back.
All right, Santa's watching style. All thanks to Amy. Liam Santa Maria always needs an elf or two around this time of year. Hit him up at Liam Santa. Fire away.
Well, look, before we get... I mean, Santa is always watching,
yes.
Thanks to Amy, AAMI. But at this time of year...
Yes.
Santa's often doing a few other things as well, giving some gifts. So I got some gifts for you,
Yo,
fellas.
Oh! Here we go.
Okay.
Always got to come with the gift. Just prior to Christmas.
A little Santa sack.
Hold on, what I got down here?
This better be Amy. This better be Amy car insurance.
All right, hold on. This one. This is for you, Corey.
Oh, thanks, man.
Merry Christmas. Open that up.
Thanks,
Let's have a bit of a look.
See what we got here. Green.
They said you are your team.
Yes! The Jake Jumper shorts.
Are you number one ticket holder?
They said they're your
Thanks,
team.
man.
Hey,
Appreciate
Merry
it.
Christmas, Cam.
These are fire.
Oh.
No, you like the shorts.
I can't believe you haven't got a pair.
I know
you
you
got?
like...
Oh, I don't know what I got.
Come on, open, come on.
Man,
You got a lot of packages.
Gee, a lot
We're not trying to save the paper.
What do we got
What's
here?
that?
I got you some Illawarra Hawks pajamas.
Yes! Because?
You're sleeping on this team. Man didn't put them in the top 4.
I did have them in the top 4.
So
But
now
I'm
you
gonna
can
wear
sleep
them.
on
man.
You can sleep in them every night of the year.
Hey,
He's my team right here.
only 4 can go into it.
Yep.
But
There you go.
right,
Hey, head to
Thank you.
Illawarra's
I
not
like
going.
it.
hook these up through the
my
NBL
position.
store.
These are nice.
Head to the nblstore.com.au, get your on-call jerseys, get your gear, get your shorts, get your pajamas, and
Team right here.
you'll be all set.
You know what? Illawarra make the 4, which they look great early. I'll do the show.
You'll wear them on the show.
Once they clinch
Oh
their
my
playoff
goodness
spot.
gracious!
Now, have you got
I'm
anything
not
else
sure
for me,
if-
or
I'm
are we
not
just
sure.
going straight to...
I'm not sure if we want that.
Have you actually
Let's
watched
roll.
anything?
Let's roll.
Yeah.
Santa's watching because it was a fun round. And hey, I can't get enough of the ding ding flop. So let's let's start in Perth because ding ding goes down. Big man fall hard.
Gets worse every time you hear it.
And Nico Fernandez, the refs are a little bit. It wasn't Nico, but the refs. Look, Vaughan's like, nah, he's okay. Look at the banging on the floor.
Come on!
And then James Duncan comes out and he's like, fellas, actually, he's fine.
Yeah,
He can leave
come
him
on.
alone.
Let's not exaggerate this, boys.
He's fine.
Okay.
Don't worry. And we're
Hey!
Look at Wilbur. Look at Wilbur's leg.
He's having convulsions on the floor, Wilbur.
Oh, I love it.
Yo!
Captured the
Wilbur!
moment. Captured the
Oh,
moment.
my God.
Wilbur, always, you just got to tread carefully when someone
Yeah.
goes down. I was worried. Kai Soto!
Hey!
Oh, I was worried
Yeah.
about his knee, the big fella. They were all slipping. CJ slipped.
Damn, coach.
The cap of the
the cap.
of the Texter slipped, and then Usman Dieng was having a bad time off the back of the rim. Oh, he's like off the back.
Again.
Let me have one more try.
Go on,
Off
come
the
on,
back
you
of
can
the
nail it.
Oh, my
Hey.
goodness.
Come
on, young
rough
fella.
times. And this was either the worst pass
Yeah.
or the worst shot
Oh, my goodness.
of NBL 22. Michael Fraser's like, what happened there?
You know what? Bit of rust coming in. Don't forget, hit him up at Liam Santa. All thanks to Amy. That is Santa's watching. All right, ready for this? JD Sneaker of the Week, of course. JD Sports, the undisputed king of trainers. Have a look at this, Liam Santa Maria. That and those are very, very, very sweet from a young man who's fitted in quite nicely.
Very nice work from the new kid from the block.
Love it. And I'll tell you what, I know he off court, he probably wears a pair of these, a Nike Dunk High. Have a look at this, the Moon Fossil. Beautifully done. Very moody, very old school.
Very
That's the way to
moody.
go about it. And the only way to cop your pair is to head to the JD AU app. They get released this Thursday. Do not miss out. Get yourself a Christmas present.
Was that?
That's what I'll be doing.
Was that your description of your words?
Well, it would have been, but JD Sports beat me to it. Very moody.
I like that.
Great colourway, JD AU. That's, of course, the JD. Sneaker of the week, the undisputed king of trainers. All right, you ready?
I'm
yes
ready.
or no? We're going to squeeze them in quickly.
Let's do it.
Is Vic Law the best teammate Bryce Cotton's ever had in the NBL?
Yes.
Do Brisbane have 3 of the best 10 players in the league? Sobey, Franks, Patterson.
No.
Will Thonmaker play in NBL 22?
Yes.
Is Will McDowell-White the biggest benefactor of having no Webster brothers?
Yes.
Should the refs wear shorts? It's a summer sport.
No.
Why?
I don't want to see that.
Would an NBL select team win the NBA Summer League?
No.
All right. Just quickly, Daly, all NBL first team?
No.
All right, we're out of here. See ya. There's NBL Overtime.
Merry
Hit us up.
Christmas.
#NBL Overtime.